It was a sunny Saturday afternoon in late spring. I was 15 and had just finished up some homework and was feeling restless. I lived in a quiet suburban neighborhood that didn't offer much excitement for a teenager. But on that day I decided I was going to find an adventure. I headed out on my bike with no real destination in mind. I pedaled around the sleepy streets, passing familiar houses with manicured lawns. That's when I spotted the old Victorian-style house on the corner of Birch and 7th Street. The paint was faded and peeling with overgrown weeds choking the yard. I realized I had never seen signs of life in that house. I parked my bike and walked up the cracked concrete path to the porch. The windows were covered with grime and cobwebs. I tried the front door and it pushed open easily with a creak. My heart began beating faster. This was my chance to explore a real abandoned house. I stepped cautiously inside. The entryway was dark, but enough sunlight shone in to see wallpaper curled and sagging from the age. I moved further in, alert for any sounds. The floorboards groaned under each step. To my left was a living room with antique furniture covered by white sheets. A dusty piano sat in the corner. I ran my finger along it and left a clean streak exposing the wood beneath. I continued through an open archway into the kitchen. Dishes were still stacked in the sink, coated with greenish grime. On the counter sat canisters and pots, as if someone had just cooked a meal and stepped away decades ago. Turning the corner, I began ascending a curved staircase. The faded floral carpet felt spongy, and my steps kicked up little clouds of dust with each one. At the top was a long hallway lined with closed doors. I opened the first one slowly, and it let out an eerie creak. Peering inside, I saw a child's bedroom. The wallpaper had cute circus animals which looked unsettlingly macabre in the dim light. A broken crib and box of mildewed toys sat in the corner. Moving down the hall, I pushed open another door. Inside was a neat guest bedroom, untouched except for a layer of dust. Opening the closet revealed decades-old coats and dresses still hanging. I left the closet door ajar as I moved further down the hall. I tested each doorknob, but they were locked. Finally, I reached the last door. I turned the handle and it opened. My stomach dropped. Instead of a room, there was just a wall of bricks where the rest of the hallway should be. I stood there frozen, confused why the house just ended. Then I heard it. A small rustling came from the guest bedroom closet I'd left open. I held my breath, listening. There it was again, like something moving inside. My pulse pounded in my ears. Time to leave. I raced back down the hall, down the groaning steps, and out the front door. I didn't stop running until I reached my bike. Pedaling home, I tried to rationalize the noises. Raccoons had gotten in, nothing more. But I knew deep down it was not an animal. I never told anyone what I experienced in that abandoned house on the corner. But since that day, neighbors have shared whispers that it's more than just empty. Something sinister lurks within those peeling walls, waiting to be found by the curious. I learned my lesson. Sometimes it's better not to go searching for adventure in places forgotten for a reason. It was a sunny Saturday afternoon in late April. I was bored after being stuck inside most of the winter and decided to get some fresh air. My name's Zach. I'm 16 years old and I live in a quiet suburban neighborhood where each day feels pretty repetitive. I set out on my skateboard with no real destination in mind. I cruised along enjoying the warm weather, passing blocks of neatly kept homes. Eventually, I ended up in an area I didn't often visit on the far side of town. The houses here looked run down with overgrown lawns littered with junk. I was about to turn back when I noticed one house that looked completely abandoned. The windows were boarded up and the siding was falling off. I stopped and stared at it, considering whether I should take a closer look. Curiosity got the best of me. I dropped my board and walked through the weedy yard up to the porch. The front door was hanging off its hinges, allowing a view inside. I slowly stepped through the doorway into the living room. It was dim with all the windows covered, but enough sunlight filtered in to make out the interior. The walls had graffiti scrawled on them, and the floor was littered with broken glass and trash. As I moved farther inside, the stench hit me, a mix of rotting garbage and bodily odor. I nearly gagged and pulled my shirt over my nose. That's when I began to realize maybe I wasn't alone here. I was about to turn back when I heard voices coming from a room down the hall, followed by a hacking cough. I froze, listening. More hushed voices, at least two people muttering. Homeless squatters. My fight or flight response kicked in. I needed to get out before they saw me. I rushed for the front door, shards of glass crunching under my shoes. Right as I made it to the entryway, a figure appeared. A disheveled-looking man with matted hair blocked my path. His eyes were wild, face etched with grime. He stared at me silently before bellowing, "Hey!" I didn't wait to see what he wanted. I pushed past him and ran through the yard to my skateboard. As I raced away, I could hear him yelling incoherently. I didn't look back until I was several streets away. My hands shook with leftover adrenaline. I decided not to tell anyone what I saw. The cops would just kick those vagrants out, leaving them with nowhere to go. Still, I avoided that neighborhood after my unsettling experience. The image of that man's intense stare burned into my mind. While my curiosity about abandoned buildings remains, I'm more wary now. You truly never know what forgotten places might shelter from the light of day. I was fortunate to escape that decrepit house before finding out what those shadowy occupants intended. Some mysteries are better left undisturbed, especially in empty structures concealed by silent suburban streets. It was a sunny afternoon in July, and I was bored out of my mind. I had nothing to do, no friends to hang out with, and no plans for the weekend. I decided to go for a walk around the neighborhood, hoping to find something interesting to kill some time. As I walked past the familiar houses and shops, I noticed a sign that caught my eye. It said, "For sale," and pointed to a large old house at the end of the street. I had never seen anyone living there, and it looked like it had been abandoned for years. The windows were boarded up, the paint was peeling off, and the lawn was overgrown with weeds. It looked like a perfect setting for a horror movie. I felt a sudden surge of curiosity and decided to check it out. Maybe I could find something cool inside, like an old diary or a hidden treasure. I crossed the street and walked towards the house, ignoring the no trespassing sign on the gate. I pushed it open and entered the property. The house was even more dilapidated up close. The porch was sagging, the door was hanging from its hinges, and the roof had holes in it. I wondered how long it had been since anyone set foot inside. I stepped onto the porch and tried to open the door. It was locked, but I noticed a broken window next to it. I grabbed a piece of wood from the ground and smashed the glass, making a loud noise that echoed in the silence. I reached inside and unlocked the door. I opened the door and stepped into the house. It was dark and dusty inside, and it smelled like mold and decay. The floorboards creaked under my feet as I walked through the hallway, looking for anything interesting. The walls were covered with faded wallpaper and old photographs of people I didn't recognize. The furniture was covered with sheets and cobwebs. I explored the ground floor but found nothing of interest, just more dust and junk. I decided to go upstairs, hoping to find something more exciting. I climbed up the stairs, which were steep and narrow. As I reached the top, I saw a door at the end of the hall that looked different from the others. It was painted red and had a large padlock on it. I wondered what was behind that door, and why it was locked so securely. Maybe it was where they kept their secrets, their valuables, or their victims. I felt a chill run down my spine as I imagined what horrors could be waiting for me inside. I walked towards the door and reached for the padlock, hoping to find a way to open it. I was disappointed to see that it was too sturdy and complex for me to break or pick. I looked around hoping to find a key or a tool that could help me. I saw a small closet next to the door and decided to check it out. I opened the closet and saw a bunch of old clothes in boxes. I rummaged through them, hoping to find something useful. I was about to give up when I saw a metal box at the bottom of the closet. It looked like a safe, and it had a combination lock on it. I grabbed the box and brought it out of the closet. I tried to open it, but I had no idea what the combination was. I looked at the box more closely and noticed that it had some scratches and marks on it. It looked like someone had tried to force it open before, but failed. I wondered what was inside the box, and if it had anything to do with the locked door. Maybe it contained the key, a clue, or a confession. I felt a surge of determination and decided to try to crack the code. I examined the lock and saw that it had 4 digits. I tried some random numbers, but none of them worked. I decided to use logic and deduction instead of luck. I thought about what kind of numbers someone would use for their combination. Maybe their birthday, their anniversary, or their favorite number. I looked at the photographs on the wall, trying to find any clues. I saw a picture of a couple holding hands in front of the house. They looked happy and in love. On the back of the picture, there was a date written in pen. June 12, 1978. I wondered if that was their wedding date, their moving date, or something else. I decided to try it as a combination. I entered 0612 on the lock and turned it. It clicked. I felt a rush of adrenaline as I opened the box. Inside, there was a small envelope with a note on it. It said, "Dear whoever finds this, if you are reading this, then you have managed to open my box. Congratulations. You are smarter than most people who have tried before you. But don't get too excited. You have also made a terrible mistake. You see, this box contains something very dangerous, something that should never be seen by anyone, something that is behind that red door. And by opening this box, you have also opened that door. You have unleashed something that cannot be stopped. It will hunt you down and kill you, something that will make you wish you never came here, something that will make you scream. I know this because I was the one who locked it up. I was the one who lived in this house and made the mistake of opening that door. And I was the one who paid the price. I won't tell you what it is, or how it came to be, or why it exists. You will find out soon enough. All I can tell you is that it is evil. Pure, unadulterated evil. And it is hungry for blood, for pain, for fear. And you are its next meal. So if you value your life, do yourself a favor and run. Run as fast as you can and as far as you can, and don't look back, because it is coming for you. It is coming for you right now, and it won't stop until you are dead. Good luck. You'll need it." I finished reading the note and felt a cold sweat on my forehead. I looked up and saw that the red door was open, and from inside I heard a sound that made my blood run cold, a sound that was not human, nor was it an animal, a scream that was not of this world. I stood paralyzed as the inhuman screams grew louder from behind the red door. My mind raced. Should I run or see if someone needed help? Curiosity rooted me in place. The sounds shifted to a spine-chilling chorus of laughter echoing down the hall. Against my better judgment, I forced my trembling legs to inch toward the open doorway. Peering inside, the windowless room was pitch black. The laughter ceased abruptly. In the dead silence, the atmosphere felt charged with electricity, raising the hairs on my arms. I reached into my pocket for my phone to use as a light. As I fumbled to turn on the flashlight, a blinding strobe burst from the darkness. I shielded my eyes just in time. Blinking away spots, I now saw the room's contents in flickering glimpses, empty except for a figure standing eerily still in the far corner. My breath caught. Its gangly silhouette looked human but contorted, limbs bent at impossible angles. The strobing stopped, casting the room again into utter blackness. Heavy breaths echoed around me, though not my own. I stood paralyzed, sensing the presence shifting closer. Foul, hot air hit my face. An acrid, decaying smell overwhelmed me. I whimpered as an icy hand clasped my throat. As my vision faded, the last thing I glimpsed was the entity's eyes hovering before mine. Two glowing red orbs, filled with primordial hunger. Then everything went dark. I jolted awake in my bed, drenched in sweat. Just a vivid nightmare apparently sparked by my urban exploring. But my neck still tingled where the icy fingers had grabbed. I pulled the covers tight, unable to shake the feeling that something was terribly wrong, that the letter had been a warning unheeded, and now an ancient evil had found its next victim.